Hello everyone. So today we are starting a very important chapter, Constitution, Why and How. This is from class 11 Political Science NCERT, Indian Constitution and Work. Now this chapter is actually the base of everything in political science. If you understand this properly, all future chapters will become much easier. So we will not just learn definitions, we will actually understand why Constitution exists. So this is the image of actual Constitution of India. So let's start with a simple question. What exactly is a constitution? A constitution is basically a set of rules that tells us how a country should function. It decides things like who will make laws, how decision will be taken, what rights people will have. So in simple words, constitution is like the rule book of a country. Just imagine playing a game without rules. Everyone will start doing whatever they want. So same thing would happen to a country. So a constitution is a body of fundamental principles which tells how government is formed, how power is distributed, what rules people must follow. So it is the supreme law of the country. Now, why do we need a constitution? Now, think about society. People are not the same. They have different religions, different opinions, different lifestyles. Society is diverse. So disagreements are normal. So now the question is, how do we manage all this peacefully? That's where constitution comes in. It helps in managing order, creating trust, avoiding conflicts. Without rules, people wouldn't even know what is right or wrong, and that leads to chaos. So without rules, there will be insecurity and conflict. So to avoid all this, we need a constitution. Now let's discuss the functions of constitution. So the first function of constitution is coordination and assurance. Now what does coordination mean? It simply means everyone follows a common set of rules. So constitution provides basic rules. These rules are known to all and they are legally enforceable. And it gives assurance that everyone will follow rules. So example of this, laws prevent chaos in society. People feel safe because they know the rules and they know others will follow them too. Here's an important word which is enforceable. So this means that rules are backed by law. If someone breaks them, punishment is possible. Example, there are traffic rules. If no rules existed, so roads would become dangerous. Same logic applies to society. Now function 2 is allocation of power. Second function is deciding who gets power because power cannot be random. Someone has to make laws, take decisions. So in India, parliament makes laws. So this is called distribution of power, meaning power is clearly divided and defined. So there is no confusion. Constitution decides who has the power. In India, parliament makes laws. It defines structure of government and this is called distribution of power. Function 3 is limits on government. Now think about this. What if government becomes too powerful? What if it arrests anyone without reason, stops people from speaking? So that would be unfair, right? So constitution puts limits on government. Constitution prevents misuse of power, protects fundamental rights. So there is no arbitrary arrest, freedom of speech is maintained, there is no discrimination. Government cannot make unjust laws. Fundamental rights are the basic rights that protect citizens like freedom of speech, right to life. So government cannot misuse its power. So it puts limits on government. Now function 4 is aspirations of society. Now constitution is not just about rules, it also shows that what kind of society we want. So constitution expresses goals like equality, justice, welfare. It enables government to reduce inequality, improve living conditions. Examples include ending caste discrimination. So government make efforts and make laws so as to end caste discrimination. Now, constitution and identity. The constitution also gives us a national identity. It tells us who is a citizen, what values we follow. It gives us political identity. It defines terms like citizenship, national values. It defines that in India there is no discrimination based on religion and there is equal citizenship for all. So it creates unity among people by giving us an identity. What is a constitution? What are its types? So some countries have written constitution like India and some have unwritten constitution like UK. And constitution can be a single document or a collection of laws. So in UK there is a collection of laws which they use as a constitution. So constitution can be written or based on practices. And in India it is a single document. Everything is written in one document. Now what makes constitution successful? This is a very important question. Why do some constitutions succeed and some fail? So first is mode of promulgation. Second is substantive provisions. Third is balanced institutional design. So what is the meaning of promulgation? How a constitution is created and introduced. Who made it? Did people accept it? Was it forced or accepted by people? So India's constitution was accepted by people. It was made after freedom struggle, as we know. The leaders of the freedom struggle were trusted by people. So the constitution made by them were trusted by people. So people accepted it. So it makes our constitution effective. Second is substantive provisions. It means important real content. It should give justice, equality, rights. So our constitution has all these provisions. It has provisions for justice, equality, rights, and power is divided between legislature, executive, and judiciary. So no one becomes too powerful. So our constitution contains all these provisions. And third is balanced institutional design. It means there are institutions like parliament, court. Power is divided between legislature, executive, and judiciary. So legislature is what? Who make laws sitting in the parliament. Executive is who runs the government. And judiciary is who gives justice. So power is divided in such a way between these three columns that it prevents misuse of power. So all these three things makes our constitution effective. Now let's see beginning of constitution making. How our constitution came to be. So India's constitution was made by the Constituent Assembly as we know it. So its first meeting took place on 9th December 1946 before partition, before independence and before partition. Then after partition it again assembled on 14 August 1947. And based on cabinet mission plan is planned by British to transfer power to India. It was based on that. How many members were there? Initially, there were 389 members. So after partition, some members went to Pakistan. So there were left 299 members, and out of 299 members, 284 members signed the constitution. And the members of the Constituent Assembly were indirectly elected. They were not directly elected by people, but by elected representatives, meaning people did not directly vote for them. Now let's quickly go through some important dates. First meeting of the Constituent Assembly took place on 9 December 1946. Then the objective resolution was passed on 13 December 1946. Then a constitution was adopted on 26 November 1949. And then finally it was applied on 26 January 1950. So adopted means final version was accepted, and applied means it started working. And why 26 January? Because in 1930 India declared Purna Swaraj. So this date was chosen to respect that. Okay. And the total time taken to complete the constitution was 2 years, 11 months, and 18 days. This is the old image of Parliament of India. Now let's see features of Constitution Assembly. Let's understand how the assembly worked. So it was a representative body, meaning people from different groups were included. Even though Congress had majority, there were many different opinions. So the decisions were taken through discussion. When you will read the NCERT, you will come across a term which is deliberation. So deliberation means careful discussion before decision making. So the members carefully discussed every bits of the issue before taking a decision. So here's an interesting fact that only one thing was passed without debate, and that was universal adult franchise, which is every adult gets voting rights at the age of 18. So at that time, that was a very bold decision. Now let's understand the working of the assembly, how the assembly worked. So the assembly formed 8 committees. Each committee worked on different topics. So the process was simple. The draft has to be prepared. It went through discussion. Then, if needed, there were changes made, and then it was finalized. So the total sittings were 166 days, and the meetings were open to public. People could see how a constitution was made. So this shows that there was transparency in the process. Here are the members of the Constituent Assembly going through the final version of the constitution. Now let's see role of freedom movement in constitution making. So the constitution was based on freedom struggle. It was strongly influenced by the freedom movement. So the objective resolution, which was given by Nehru in 1946, it included ideas like equality, liberty, and justice. So all these terms were included in Constitution of India. And the most important idea was power comes from people, because people chose the government, so the power comes from people. Now let's see what are the borrowed features of our constitution. Our constitution borrowed some features from other countries' constitutions, namely from United Kingdom we took parliamentary system, from United States of America we took fundamental rights, from Ireland we took directive principles of state policy, from France we took liberty, equality, fraternity, from Canada we took federal system. Although all these principles were borrowed, but they were adapted according to the situation in India. So they are applicable to us. Why our constitution is so successful? Indian constitution works well because it is flexible and can change. It is stable, that means the core values always stay the same. Power is divided among the organs of the government, so there is no misuse of power, and it reflects people's aspirations. And it's called a living document. It means that it can change with time, it can grow with time. Amendments are made whenever they are needed. So, how we can conclude this chapter? The Constitution is the foundation of democracy. It ensures rights, equality, and justice, which are very important for the people living in a country as vast as India. And without Constitution, there can be no order. Without Constitution, there are no rules, no rights, and no democracy. So, a Constitution is very important for a nation like India and for democracy to survive and thrive like it is thriving here. So that's all. Thank you. We will see the next chapter in the next video. You should read the content material NCERT chapter and try to solve the questions and comment any in which you find any problem. Okay, so that's all.